Number One Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by Number One Cochran. Go one better.
All right, welcome back. Matthew Fitzpatrick wins the 2022 U.S. Open. Good battle with Will Zalatoris. Two guys are going to be on this tour for a long time, but a lot of guys aren't on the tour, at least suspended. Went to the Live Golf Tour, and they have been criticized, vilified, to use your word, Colin, for their political connection.
I don't get it.
They're golfers. They were offered a lot of money. Do you have a problem with them taking it?
No, but here's why. I have a problem with the people that are vilifying them and trying to make it politicizing everything. Did people do the same to the F1 drivers who drove in Saudi Arabia not long ago? And furthermore, did people do the same thing and vilify the athletes from this country that went to China to compete in the Olympics, in countries all over the world? These guys aren't trying to make Mickelson maybe, but these guys aren't trying to. He shouldn't have said what he said. But these guys aren't trying to make some political statement. They're not aligning themselves arm in arm with people who are committing atrocities. They're golfers going other places to make as much money as they can. The way that we try so hard to make everything and politicize everything and give a political arm to it, it's just a sense of trying too hard, I think.
It's very easy to say.
Go ahead.
It's very easy to say, what are you doing? This is a terribly immoral thing. Then when somebody hands you a $50 million check, how many of you out there would say, oh, no, I'm not going to take this money because I don't like you people? That's a very easy thing to do. Is there some greed involved here? Yes. Guess what? They're professional golfers. These are literally country club people. There's a lot of greed with country club people. Okay. They're not doing anything illegal, and this might actually be a good thing for golf, Pomp, in the long run. It really may, because we're all talking about it. This is the most interesting thing to happen in golf since, what, Tiger, other than Tiger, right? Because nobody's going to be talking about Matthew Fitzpatrick in 3 days.
Well, I just think
the way it is.
It's all kind of a smokescreen. I mean, the big thing is this is an actual competitor for the PGA Tour.
Right.
If this wasn't a legitimate competitor, do you think the PGA Tour would be doing the things they're doing? And here's the other thing about the whole thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the PGA Tour stage an event in Saudi Arabia about 2 months ago?
Harold Varner
won it. I mean, what?
In Saudi Arabia.
So it's all, you know, that really comes down to.
Should they back off for suspension then? The PGA Tour said they're going to.
Yes, because I think if Monahan has a brain in his head, he will understand that working with this group or whatever, working with the players that are playing with the LIV is good for the PGA Tour and everybody else. It's only 12 weekends they're playing on that LIV Tour. Right. Work something out where, okay, listen, you've got to commit to 10 of our events besides the majors or whatever.
Can I tell you what most people think? Can I bet on it? And if I can, then I like it. If I can't, I don't like it. There you go, Bob.
Betting has a lot to do with it.
Hell yeah, it does.
And so does a TV contract.
Right.
They don't have it. Then again, I don't think they care about that over there. They don't.
No.
It's not. To me, it's about a rehabilitation to their government. They're trying to use golf to cover up for a lot of stuff. That's their end game, and they got a ton of money.
If that's their motivation, they need to hire some better PR people. Because golf isn't going to really cover a whole lot of host of sins.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying,
but
my point is, I just think it's a lot of rich guys that figured out, hey, we can have our own tour.
No, I think Bob's right. I think they're trying to sports wash it, just like they try to do with other things.
Sure.
But again, here's how much I care. Can I bet on it? And if I can, I like it.
Right,
if I can't, I don't like it.
Yes or no answers. I go to a break here, and that would be Gary Van Sickle. I don't know if he was kidding or not. He said the PGA Tour should do a Ryder Cup format. PGA Tour against the LIV Tour. Would you watch that, Paul? Yes or no?
Of course I would. But right now, the PGA Tour would destroy him, I think. But yeah, it'd be fun.
I would absolutely watch. Heck yeah, I would.
I'd watch it, but it wouldn't be as enjoyable as when the countries play each other. The passion of the nations.
You could bet on it. So
you can bet on it. Right, yes, which is why I watch golf.
Good stuff. Hundreds of thousands of people have bet on Number One Cochran over the years, and for good reason, because they have made this available to you. They buy cars. Yeah, they do. So it's your turn to sell them a car. Super easy, hassle-free, and you get payment on the spot. The best part is Number One Cochran can pay more for used cars because they sell more used cars. So sell yours entirely online at Cochran.com or stop by any store. Remember, Number One Cochran buys cars.